Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. If you're new here, I'm Jasmine. Nice to meet you. Hope that you'll stay. And if you're returning, thank you for tuning in for another one of my videos. So I'm really excited about today's video. I've wanted to do it for a long time and it's going to be a little bit different than my other videos. I know a lot of my other videos are usually pretty informative relating to different things that have to do with nursing. But this one is nursing related, but it's more so going to be sort of a tribute. So, as we all know, February is Black History Month and March is Women's History Month. So, I'm Black and I'm also a woman, so in the spirit of that intersectionality that I have, I wanted to do a video highlighting a lot of the Black nurses that I have in my life that are so important. And I also wanted to ask them their perspective and their opinion on different things in nursing and if they had any advice for any future Black nursing students or Black nurses. So, stay tuned. I'm going to put pictures and social medias, if they are applicable, of everybody up on the screen, and it'll probably be a little voiceover. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get started. So our first nurse that we're highlighting is Miss Alyssa. Alyssa is actually one of my coworkers, and she does my lashes. So if you're interested and you're in our area, the Ohio area, and you're looking to get your lashes done, both her personal and her lash page social media is above. Just had to do that plug because that's my girl. So she is currently a NICU nurse. And for her future aspirations, she is currently in school to become a family nurse practitioner. And her end goal is to become a women's health nurse practitioner or possibly expand her skills in aesthetics, being that she is a part time lash tech. So, again, ladies, if you're in the area and you need her to get you together, she's got you. So I asked each one of the nurses to give me a rose or a good thing from their nursing journeys thus far, and also to give me a thorn or something that is not so good or something that's been a struggle for them to overcome, as well as any advice that they have for Black nursing students or Black nurses in the field. So for Alyssa, her rose was that a good thing for my nursing journey so far is being able to make such a difference. I know that sounds cliche, but I have generally had parents thank and praise me just for taking the time out and explaining something to them or actually showing them that I had time for their baby. And I will agree with Alyssa that that is definitely one of the most rewarding things about working in this field is when families thank you. And this a lot of times can be a really thankless job, but like those compliments as well as like just seeing your babies go from where they started to discharge is really what makes it worth it. So as for her thorn, she said a bad thing would be truly the amount of pressure that nurses are put under. We have to deal with no staffing, unsafe assignments, and it truly affects everyone. I myself understand why nurses leave the bedside because I have considered it. The exhaustion is just not worth it, and I feel like we don't get compensated enough for the amount of work that we do. And especially with all of the commotion going on with Congress trying to cap travel nurses' pay, I think that that is something that people are starting to understand, is that nursing can be a very thankless job. And really, so many people stay in this profession just because they truly love their patients and care about them. So our next nurse we are highlighting is Kayla. So Kayla is my best friend from college. That is my girl. She is the Meredith to my Christina Yang. For all of you Grace fans that understand, she is my person. So Kayla's specialty is that she works in women's health and she works on a high-risk perinatal unit in Metro Atlanta. So basically that means that she works with both high-risk antepartum as well as postpartum patients. For her future aspirations, she is starting her master's program this fall, specializing in women's health. She's going to be there to save all the mamas. So Kayla's rose is that she knows that she can rely on her coworkers, and being part of a team is priceless, both when you're learning and when there's a crisis or missteps come in. She also enjoys being surrounded by more experienced Black nurses who have become her mentors, as well as motivated her to continue her passions in nursing. Kayla's thorn, however, is she can be very hard on herself for things that are out of her control, like providers who are not attentive to her patients, completing tasks for a patient that came during a shift change. It can make you feel like you're incompetent when it's not your fault, but you care so much about your patients that you feel you should go beyond when someone else needs to step in and do their part as well. And that's a direct quote from Kayla. And then lastly, her advice for anyone in the field is find your outlet or your peace outside of work. You can absolutely have your aspirations and continue to work towards them while also contributing to hobbies, activities, and events that are also important because they're important to you. Being a nurse is a part of your life, but it should not be your life. Unfortunately, not all spaces are friendly to Black women, so finding that space that no one can take away from you is priceless. So next up is Miss Chelsea. So I met Chelsea when I was still in undergrad at Emory, and she came into the nursing program a year after me, and I met her through a mutual friend, and she sort of became my nursing mentee. I love her so much, and I've always admired about Chelsea is she has such a passion and such a drive and such a care for her patients. She is one of the most caring people I have probably ever encountered, and it makes me happy that we have nurses like her because they truly care about what they do. So, Chelsea currently works as a labor and delivery nurse, aka a professional baby catcher. And for her future aspirations, she aspires to be a certified nurse midwife. So she'll really be catching those babies. So, all of those mamas who are looking for a midwife in the future, myself included, keep an eye out for Chelsea because I think that she's going to go on to do great things. So, her rose for nursing is that she gets to sing happy birthday every day, which that does sound pretty nice. And her thorn is that mamas are getting sicker. Lastly, her advice is to stay up on current practice, and this is specifically for those interested in L&D or labor and delivery. Make sure you always practice EFM or electronic fetal monitoring. Follow birthing bundle nursing for tracing Tuesdays and for practice scenarios. There is always a way to be better. Lastly, you are amazing. You're a Black woman. The world revolves because of you. Walk in there and act like it. Last but certainly not least is Monique Jackson, BSN RN. So this is my auntie Monique. I met her through my now current husband Ryan, and I met when Ryan and I were still dating, boyfriend and girlfriend, while I was still in school. And something that I appreciated about Auntie Monique is that when she met me and found out I was in nursing school, she immediately connected with me and took me under her wing and let me know that if I needed anything, I could reach out to her. And I feel like just having that mentorship when you're in the profession can really like make or break your nursing experience, just because you have that support from nurses that are older than you and have been in the profession longer and are sort of able to help you navigate some of the waters in the profession. But well, that's another story for another day. So her roses is that she has formed some of the most amazing relationships with some of the most nurturing and intelligent nurses, nurse educators, nurse practitioners, nurse anesthetists, and nurse managers over the last 15 years. Some will never know how much they have contributed to her love of the profession and her growth as a nurse. Another thing that she loves about her journey is the wealth of knowledge that she's obtained thus far and the fact that the learning never ends. For her thorn, she says, thankfully that there are not many thorns. And she says, in every profession, there are growing pains. You deal with them and move on. One thing that has made being a nurse more difficult is that it has to be the lack of support and inconsistencies of administration. Lastly, her piece of advice, she said, to my Black nursing babies, I say these things. First, stay open and receptive to learning. Nursing is dynamic. Your education throughout your time in this profession will be never ending. Embrace it. Second, find your voice. Unfortunately, our profession still eats its young. Grow a strong backbone and stand up for yourself every day. Thirdly, no matter how horribly your patient treats you, give them the care that they deserve and need. And lastly, self-care is very important. This grind is mental and physical. If you wake up and feel like you just can't do it, take a day. You can't pour from an empty glass. Wise words, especially the pouring from an empty glass. Okay, welcome back. Now that you don't hear me droning on, I sort of wanted to end with my own experience. So, as you guys know, my name is Jasmine. I am a neonatal intensive care nurse currently, and my future aspirations is that one day I'm going to be a neonatal nurse practitioner, which I'm currently in school for. And I think my end goal, honestly, and I've just recently started to share this with people, is that I do want to be an NNP, and I definitely want to work in the hospital for a good amount of time, just because I love the thrill of the hospital. I do. But I think eventually I do want to work in an outpatient clinic, specifically working with kids with BPD, which is bronchopulmonary dysplasia, and it's essentially chronic lung disease. So that is an ailment that affects a lot of the neonatal population, and I've always sort of been interested in like respiratory things. Like I thought about being a respiratory therapist once, so I think that'd be a really good way for me to sort of intersect both of those things that I'm interested in, is working with that population as a nurse practitioner. So yeah, that's that about me. Now for a rose, or something that's good that's happened during my nursing journey, is that I get so much satisfaction from seeing Black families. I walk in the room, I tell them that I'm the nurse taking care of their baby, and the amount of times that I've had families thank me for taking the time out to explain something to them, or them just telling me like, we feel so comfortable with you here, we enjoy the way that you take care of our baby, we feel like you're very gentle with him. I've also had a lot of people tell me like, they're like, I can tell that you love your job, that you really care about these babies, which I do. The babies make it worth it. I love my parents, I love my coworkers, I love what I do, but the babies make it worth it. Make it worth it. Whew, excuse me, can't talk. So my thorn for my nursing journey is, I don't want to get too deep, but I guess it was realizing that I am living some of the statistics, if that makes sense. So I didn't know a lot about preterm birth or infant mortality before I started my nursing journey. And the longer that I was there would be times where I would be in class and they would make us watch different things about preterm birth rates, infant mortality, maternal mortality, and to sit there in class, being one of the few Black students in my class, and watch my classmates and my professors discuss how institutionalized racism in the medical system has Black women dying at disproportionate rates compared to any other ethnicity, right? For them, that's research. For me, that's my reality. You know, I'm 25 years old. I just recently got married, so I haven't had any children yet. I'm childbearing age, but I haven't had any children yet. And to think about, when that time comes, am I going to be a part of the statistics? That's something heavy to deal with, you know what I mean? I'd say that's definitely a thorn, and that's really heavy for me to deal with. But also on the flip side, it kind of turns into a good thing, because that is one of the things that motivates me for making sure that we have Black women in the profession, we have Black health professionals who are not only witnessing this experience, but also have experienced it and are able to offer holistic care, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my thorn. Okay, that was really emotional, guys. So, okay, now that I've got my emotions in check, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you are a Black nursing student, a Black nurse, somebody who supports Black nurses, doesn't matter to me, and you want to reach out to me, you want to say something, especially if you're a Black nursing student and you feel alone and you just want somebody to connect with, girl, I will be your social media best friend. Just message me on Instagram and I got you. I'll definitely get back to you. But I hope that everybody has a wonderful and beautiful rest of your Black History Month. Enjoy March with Women's History Month, and I hope that I see you guys again soon. Bye!